This could all just be a red herring. Just looking at the second question here, what is the hidden directory? And it could be where we need to do directory brute forcing. That's kind of what that's telling me. And it looks like we have some vulnerabilities that were identified with Nikto. Interesting. Allowed these methods. Okay, we know that. It also found squirrel mail and found a README file. So that's kind of interesting. So PHP files are what do the activities. So let's go ahead and just pause that, and we can always go back and look in history. And let's navigate to dish/php. So squirrel mail is in here, so that's kind of interesting, right? So we can see that we've enumerated some of the directories. We didn't know this existed. There were no links. So things can exist that aren't apparent on a system. It's just how it works. Look, we also have the ability to go to a login for this particular thing. Again, we didn't know it existed prior. Here we also have a version for Squirrel Mail, which is kind of cool. That'll allow us to look for exploits for that in particular. We also have this icon/readme. So we can check that out as well. So there's nothing much here. One of the things you might want to look at, and usually Nikto shows it if it's there, robots.txt. This just shows what's not allowed in terms of a well-behaved bot that's kind of scouring and seeing what's available. Loading LinkedIn. Okay, cool. New messages. All right, so this may be asking what this hidden directory is, maybe. Let's throw that in there and see. Nope, that wasn't it. Okay, cool. Let us run Derby so you can see what that looks like. Derby is a directory brute forcing tool. Basically, what it does is these are all directories. There also happen to be, well, depending on the type of web application, they could relate to actual file structure on the underlying operating system. And if they're anything past the root of the web server, so this would be the root of the web service itself, but not the server, the underlying operating system. And there may be additional pathways here, and we can enumerate those by running a directory brute forcer to get some of them if we can guess, because you basically have a word list and say, do any of these pathways exist? And then there are other ways to enumerate them as well, just by interacting with the application. We could see that there wasn't a lot of interaction. We found squirrel mail, but originally there wasn't a lot to interact with at the beginning, which cool, whatever. So let's just run Derby in the background and let's play with squirrel mail, see if we can find an exploit. And so we have the man page up here. We want to utilize that to frame our command. And there we go. So we just need to provide that. There is a default word list it utilizes, but Kali has some built in. They're in like Etsy shared word list or something like that, maybe. We'll run the default one and see what comes back. So it looks like we're already getting a bunch of stuff here, which is interesting. And so it enumerates the directories, and then it's going to look for additional files within those directories. And as you can see, these are all things we haven't been able to, we could not see just by interacting with it like normal. So lots of stuff here. I am curious about, well, I was trying to use in Kali, normal Kali, you can shift click something and I'll take you there. And it's annoying that I can't do that. So just redirects you straight to that. That's probably why some of these were getting 200. So 403s, don't necessarily care about those. Something to pay attention to is if you see something with a different response size, that may indicate there's a different response, which is good. That means we should navigate there and see what's going on. Like this one, we see the response size actually has stuff and it's a 200, but it's just a README. I wouldn't suppose there'd be anything of interest there. These are all plugins. I'm looking for something that would be beneficial besides just that they exist. So one of the goofy things with doing CTF like things are that sometimes it has to be like the right circumstance, like the right particular word list, or it's not going to work. So that's always something you have to keep in mind with these. Let's do a search for squirrel mail. See if there's like a SQL injection or something available. This is what I would do in a pen test. Um, let's look it up. There's an RCE there, actually. So let's actually take a pause and talk about some of the information when you're searching for exploits here. What info plugin are you talking about? Let's see. Are you talking about one of these? Like it's in here somewhere? Because you don't have access to the store. I think you have to install them yourself in order to utilize them. Let's see. Just checking messages before. Keep going. Okay. So some of the things you want to look at, yeah, legal hackers, you just have to be cautious of what sites like normal. There could be some sketchy things. Exploit DB is a really good site. It's just been a good resource for quite some time for stuff. And then, of course, if you find a POC, so proof of concept exploit code on GitHub, that's always a good time too. And what we want to see here is we want to look and understand what the exploit is and then do it. So we may be able to just do this with a null byte at the end and be able to access the system. I hope it's not that easy. Although time's running out. Let's see. Let's make a replica of this tab so we have something to work with. And we just want to okay, so we have to have gain access in some way in order to utilize it. And this is kind of an interesting thing here. Unknown user or password incorrect. So that's kind of interesting. It is giving us a reply here. Let's see what happens if we give it something that doesn't exist. Same error. It took a little bit longer. I don't know if that was a coincidence or not, though. Well, not that. I got to record a podcast after this. So, yeah, 8 o'clock. I got to bounce and record C-Suite Cyber episode number 11. I think we're on. Yeah, long day. Long day. Recording, working. I feel like Rihanna. Work, work, work. Trial users enummed by Derby. Oh, gotcha. Thank you. Is that a default one? I wonder if this is where you have to do password guessing with it. Like we could utilize Hydra for this. Um, if there was a SQL injection to it, we probably would have seen that as an attack. So I just did Miles and maybe it's Terminator. Who is Miles? I don't even know. You're probably going to shoot me for that one. I actually haven't seen a Terminator episode or a Terminator movie all the way through. No, what a shame. I need to put that on my list. Miles Dyson. I will put on my list to. Oh, SMB map. Yeah, that was it. I'll put on my list to watch some Terminator. I will report back. Oops. Probably should do enum for Linux might be a better option here. It'll do the null sessions and stuff without me having to figure out the syntax for it. Yeah. So we got some stuff. So this is interesting here that you're right, Mara Jade there. There are some, we are allowed to get into the anonymous one here. So we will have to look at that with SMB map. These other ones we were denied, but it was able to find them. So Miles Dyson looks like the user here. So good guess. You were technically you said it in the response to my ignorance. Yeah. Um, so Enum for Linux is a super solid tool. It just does the null sessions for you. You can give it credentials, however, and it will enumerate users, groups, shares. In this case, we found some shares and got information. So now we need to connect to the share. The other thing I do want to point out is we also have a password policy. This helps if you're doing password guessing. So a lot of times, password guessing, there are lockout policies. And if you know what that policy is, you can throttle your guesses to stay within that policy. So if it's like, it resets every half an hour, then you can, and you have 5 attempts before a lockout, you can do like 4 and then make sure it only does 4 every 30 minutes. And that way you can avoid the lockout. So this is reset account lockout counter every 30 minutes. The duration's only 30 minutes. Minimum password length. So we can try passwords of length 5 plus for this account. So really bad password policy, but whatever. I'm looking for the attempts. Don't see the attempts here. Store clear tags, no clear, non-complex. I thought it was in here. Minimum password age, lockout threshold, none. So there is no lockout threshold. So we can infinitely guess passwords on this account. So something to consider. All right, without further ado, let's SMB. Do you want to do SMB map? Or do we want to use, what's the other one? SMB map will just map out the directory, but it won't let you interact with it. What the heck's the other one? Why is my brain not working? Um, we'll type this in because I can't think of the other one. I have it in my professional notes. Here we go. But we'll do what everyone has to do, which is look it up. So not IMAP. I'm surprised IMAP didn't find that because I thought it did it as one of the things. SMB client is what I was thinking of. All right, so let's move this to the side so I can remember syntax. Zoop. Bring it up there. All right, so a little bit higher. So we want SMB client dash in dash. Let's give it. What did we do enum for Linux? We did do it over here. So usually too, just to point out, I would be keeping a list of stuff I would be enumerating in a list. Maybe we'll do that next time. And I'll either do like a normal list or a mind map to help me keep track of all the stuff I'm finding. Because you never know when something, oops, may come in handy. So just to pause for a second, we used SMB client to connect. And the reason I chose SMB client is because we can actively interact with the SMB protocol in this way. Or if we did SMB map, we may have been able to, but it's mostly used to just list and enumerate the file structure. And I wanted to actually look at the files themselves. Ah, cool. Okay, yeah, you would have done the same then. So we can pull down all these things now. Git, I think, is actually the command. That's the downside with all of these things is memorizing all the commands you have to do. And so you'll see people actively mess up. Yeah, I can't do that. There's a way to pull them, but that's okay. You can mark it where you do a recursive pull, but it's okay. Looks like there may only be one file with stuff in it. So one thing to also consider here is we may be able to put documents on here. So if we have a way to remotely execute, as long as we can get the file on, we may be able to execute. Just something to consider. All right, now we can look at our files. Here we go. A recent system malfunction has caused various passwords to change. All Skynet employees are required to change their passwords after seeing this. So Miles Dyson said, change your password. Yeah, we could do CrackMap because CrackMap's another good tool. It just changed though. CrackMap is now, I forget what the name of the tool was. They changed it. They said something about a malicious fork. So the tool's changed. let's take a peek. Let's take a peek at these logs. The logs may have something in there, so we'll do cat log star, and it will, what? So what we may have here is a potential password list. So yeah, we could use CrackMap for this. What we'll do is output this to a file. Passwords.txt, and then we will use CrackMap exec SMB hack u. We'll need the user, which we got from enum for Linux. Probably. Yeah, we could do that word burp suite actually. That's not a ton. So let's do the proxy. Cat mouse. We'll do this. We grabbed it. We'll go to intruder. Intruder allows us to do some funky stuff. So we want to clear all of these. This we want to add our username that we're guessing. This, and then we want to, mouse is what we want to do, and we're going to use sniper because we're only targeting one field. So we need to add a payload, a simple list. We need to load our list of passwords, and we should be good, I think, unless I mess something up. And what we're looking for here, once it gets going, is we're looking for a something with a different length list. It looks like we got one already. The second one here was a success, or maybe not, or maybe this one was. Well, let's see. We can look at the response. This is a crazy looking response. And we could have used various other tools here for this, just so you know. Zap could have worked just as well. Yeah, see, you're supposed to be able to use CrackMap and give it a list. Like the password field should be able to take a single digit or a list. So you shouldn't have to work that hard for it. So that's kind of, I would like for it to, would like for it to have worked. We still have the, geez, that did not work the way I wanted. Miles Dyson, let's turn the proxy off. It's still working also, it's able to do what it's supposed to be doing. So we're fine. Is this where the Dyson vacuum cleaner came from? Does anyone know? So basically I used the one that did look different to see if it would allow us to log in. And it let us in. There you go. Let's talk about why I chose that path. And then I have to hop off and record a podcast. Let's see. Here we go. So the reason I chose this one is sometimes things don't do what you think they're going to do when you're doing stuff in web applications. As you can see, all these have a 200 response, which means it should work, right? You would think, but that's not true. What we're using is basically looking at what stands out into all these attempts in terms of what's different. There's only one right password for the account, so we're looking for the one that is different. And that's that first one there. It's the only one with the 302. And if we look, it has a different length as well. So we're using both the link and the status code to tell us that this is a potential success. And anytime you're doing stuff like SQLi or any types of attacks and you're using intruder, that's the kind of stuff you want to look for. Things that stand out that look different. We should be able to get an idea of what a failed attempt looks like, something that doesn't work, and then we compare everything to those failed attempts to see what is different and unique. And that's usually what narrows it down for you, actually. So, yeah. Let's pause this guy because he's hating us. So we have a password. And that directory was not correct. We'll look at these emails and then I really got to get off. This is the dangers of hacking, man. It's so freaking addictive. You just want to keep going once you get something. So we also have his new password here. I have to try this now. So the problem is we have special characters here and we may need to escape them. Let's see the there we go. We'll try it. I think those are going to be special characters. Yeah, crack map is being stupid. Um, hmm. Let's do. SMB client mouse Dyson. Let's do user Miles Dyson. It should ask us for password. Nope. We used the wrong syntax. Probably a capital U. And then password. All right. So what do we do here? It's just following the cookie crumbs here. We may be able to leverage something else to log in as well. We might be able to use Metasploit to log in at this point. Who knows? But basically, if you remember earlier, there was a Miles Dyson share that was available, and we got his password from the email. And then because it says your SMB password was changed, and so we logged into that particular thing, and now we have all these cool things to check out. Yeah. Let's see. The notes seem interesting. Let's get important text. Oops. My podcast host is going to be like, "Where are you at, mofo?" But I really want to see what's in this. So this looks like the hidden directory here. So this is probably this. That was the correct answer. We can try it up here. There you go. Oh, that's Miles Dyson. I know the face. And then we could do directory brute forcing on this directory as well. But yeah, so that is it for this live stream. Definitely appreciate everyone hopping in. Thanks, Mara Jade, for hanging out. Yeah, not the vacuum cleaner. Um, no, I think CrackMap is supposed to do it, but I don't know. But yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for interacting. We'll keep doing these on a regular basis, trying to do once a week. And we might be able to get some more, do longer, so we can actually finish one of these things. Definitely encourage you to keep hacking away at this one if you followed along. Keep going. We're getting close. We got half the answers correct. We only got to get the foothold and escalate privileges. But yeah, so that's it. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. We'll see you next time.